Okay, Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. So I'm back again with another video. We are still on chapter number 1, and we are covering the different type of cells. In the previous video, I explained you the difference between the animal cell and the plant cell. Today, we will be looking into a bacterial cell, and we'll look into the structures that are found in the bacterial cell. So you must all know that bacteria are the small living organisms which are prokaryotic in nature. What is a prokaryotic cell? A prokaryotic cell or prokaryotic organism is the one that contains no well-defined nucleus in their cell. That means the nucleus is not well defined. It is not enclosed by the nuclear membrane. So we cannot say that this particular region is actually the nucleus. Instead, all the material that is supposed to be inside the nucleus um, is all mixed up with the cytoplasm. So prokaryotic organisms or the prokaryotes are the organisms that have cells without nucleus. All prokaryotic organisms are unicellular. Bacteria and cyanobacteria are the examples of prokaryotes. We will be looking into the structure of bacteria और हमें इसमें क्या क्या देखना है. Let's see the learning outcomes. They are asking you to describe the bacterial cell limited to ribosome, cellular, circular DNA, and plasmids and cytoplasm, and cell membrane and cell wall. As you already know that in animal cell and plant cell, they have defined that only these certain features should be known to the students. So now we have to look into the structure, the parts that are supposed to be, we need to learn them. Acha, one important thing is that I have taken all the pictures from internet. So you might found that there are certain things which are mentioned here and they're not mentioned in the learning outcome, so you don't need to worry about it. I tried to find out the simplest of all, and this is the simplest picture I could find. So let's begin. The bacterial cell, bacteria are unicellular living organisms. So they are unicellular prokaryotic living organism. And when we talk about the classification aspect of bacteria, so they are classified in kingdom prokaryotes, right? So as you can see, this cell is very, very simple. It's a very, very small structure, a very small cell. And cell like these, like the bacterial cell, are so very small that they could only be seen by the help of special microscopes. They are like these cells can easily attack, a number of these cells can easily attack the human cells of the body, and they can also cause problems to the plants and other living organisms. Okay, so let's talk about the bacterial cell. Acha, not only the nucleus is missing, but also a number of cytoplasmic organelles are also not present in the bacterial cell. So, okay, so the first thing we need to look into is the cell wall. The cell wall, see, this is the cell wall, the yellowish line or the brownish line, you can say. This is the cell wall. The bacterial cell is covered by a cell wall, which is made up of peptidoglycan. Peptidoglycan is a different material as compared to the other cells, like the plant cell that contains the cell wall that is made up of cellulose. Bacteria contain a different chemical. It's peptidoglycan. Peptidoglycan is a mixture of protein and glucose, right? Yeah, the better is that it's a mixture of amino acids and some form of carbohydrates. Okay. So again, the function of the cell wall will remain the same to maintain the shape and to prevent the excessive water, like the pressure which is being generated because of the movement of the water, and prevent the cells from bursting. Right. After the cell wall, the bacterial cell contains the cell membrane. The plasma membrane or the cell membrane has the same function. जैसे कि हमने पढ़ा है that the plasma membrane is actually responsible for the movement of substances in and out of the cell. So this inner lining is the plasma membrane. Okay, so this plasma membrane is present in both animal cells and plant cells, and it is also present in the bacterial cell. The function would remain the same, that it will control the movement of substances in and out of the cell. After that, in the bacteria, there is no distinct nucleus, so everything is cytoplasm. So the cytoplasm is actually the main region where all the genetic information is present, and along with all the cellular activities that take place in the cytoplasm. Moreover, the cytoplasm does not contain the cytoplasmic organelle like mitochondria, Golgi bodies, endoplasmic reticulum, lysosomes, or centrosomes, and like all the other things. So that is why The important thing is that the cytoplasm is the center of all cellular activities. Okay, so everything is happening in this fluid, in this jelly-like substance. Everything is happening here. Okay, in within the cytoplasm, the first thing which is very much clear is the circular DNA, the chromosomal DNA. Here the DNA is it's a big molecule of DNA, but it is somewhat, it's a circular structure, and this DNA contain all the genetic information which is related to this particular bacterial cell. That means that the bacterial cell, as it is a unicellular living organism, so it is very small. It contains only a few genes that are responsible for the proper functioning of this cell only. So all the information, all the genes are located on this particular chromosome. It's a one chromosomal DNA. It's one chromosome actually, and this contain all the genetic information in the form of DNA. Right? After that, let's talk about what plasmids are. You can see that we have discussed about DNA, we have discussed about cytoplasm, cell wall, cell membrane. Acha, in the previous class, when we were talking about animal cells and plant cells, I told you that ribosomes are actually responsible for making of proteins in the body or in the cells. So the proteins are crucial, and proteins like all enzymes are made up of proteins. So this is a very crucial, very significant organelle, and ribosomes are also present in the bacterial cell. This is the only cytoplasmic organelle which is present in the bacterial cell, ribosomes. The ribosomes are comparatively smaller in size as we compare it with the other cells of animals and plants, but the ribosomes have the same function, that they are responsible for making all the proteins required by this bacterial cell for its growth and for its metabolic reactions or activities. अच्छा अच्छा उसके अलावा what else you would be able to see? You would be able to see a circular ring of DNA, a small structure which is known as plasmid. What plasmids are? This is plasmid DNA. I think they have missed the arrow. This is plasmid DNA, and the function of plasmid DNA is to provide the extra, resistance to antibiotics for the bacteria. It's an extra chromosomal DNA. That means it's a DNA molecule which is other than that of the main chromosomal DNA. You can find a number of multiple plasmids in one bacterial cell, and there might be some bacteria which do not contain any plasmids at all. The presence of the plasmid actually provides an extra protection or support for the bacterial cell. The presence of plasmid makes them antibiotic resistant. Okay. अच्छा, इसके अलावा what else is present is, in some of the bacteria, not in all, you might see a thread-like extension which is known as flagellum. Flagellum is the singular and flagella is the plural. And this flagellum or flagella are actually responsible for the movement of bacteria from one place to another. So bacteria use them for locomotion. But this is not a necessary structure that would be present in all bacterial cells. Some of the bacterial cells contain this structure. The shape of the cell might also differ. Bacteria have multiple different shapes, like they can be round, they can be cylindrical shape, they can be spiral shape, and they could be like structures that are like comma vibrio. We use the term vibrio for them. So they could have different shapes, and depending on their mobility, they might have different number of flagella. They can have multiple flagella, they can have no flagella, and they can have either one or two flagella only. So it depends on the type of bacteria. So bacteria are omnipresent, they're present all around us, and they are like, these are the organisms, these are the living organisms which have both useful and harmful effects. So you will find them all around us. They're like, the population of bacteria is uncountable. We cannot imagine how many bacteria are present in our surrounding, and they play a very important role in both as useful bacteria and as well as harmful bacteria. They're playing a very important role in our in our ecosystem. One important thing is that in some of the like bacteria, you will find an extra capsule, an extra protective coat around the cell wall. It's a covering that encapsulate them, that cover them properly, and this capsule makes them slippery and slimy. So the bacteria that contain this extra capsular covering are actually, they're able to escape easily, from the white blood cells. So this capsule is made up of chemicals which are slippery in nature, which are slimy capsule. So that slimy capsule make them is like they can escape very easily from the white blood cells, and the capsulated bacteria are very usually very harmful for our body because they can cause disease, and the body is unable to work against them. The body's immune system, they can easily escape the macrophages present in our body. So capsulation is something which is common, but no, it is not present in every bacteria, but it is common in many of the harmful bacteria. Okay, so I hope all of these parts are clear. Let me, explain you again the cell wall, the cell membrane, cytoplasm, chromosomal DNA, plasmids, ठीक है, ribosomes, and then we have flagellum, we have capsule around them, and we can also find some of the food granules. It depends on the diet they have taken in, but it's optional and depends on their diet. So you might see some granules present inside the bacterial cells. That is because of the presence of the food, which is known as food granule. Let's quickly note down the like everything we have discussed already. So we just have to look into this again. Pili are the extensions on the surface of the bacterial cell, and they are helpful in their process of reproduction. Okay, so let's come back to the topic. The pili are the hair-like structure that help bacteria attach to the surfaces and other bacteria. This is important for the reproduction, and also making a bond with the host, or like attaching their cells with the host cells. Plasmid, as I have told you, this is the extra chromosomal DNA. Then the ribosomes that are the structures that make up the protein. The cytoplasm is where all the genetic material is present, and it is where all the cytoplasmic activities are happening. All the cellular activities are happening here. Cell membrane is again phospholipid and protein that is controlling the movement of substances in and out of the cell. As I've told you, the cell wall is rigid and it is made up of peptidoglycan. A capsule can be a third layer that might be present around the bacteria. It is preventing the bacteria from being drying out or by engulfed by larger microorganisms, particularly white blood cells and other organisms present in the water. Nucleoid is the chromosomal DNA, that is the actual DNA of the cell, and the flagellum is the structure that helps the bacteria to move around and sense the environment. So this is all about the bacterial cell. I hope it is clear. And if you have any questions, you can ask directly through the chat box. And also, I'm very much welcome for your suggestions. If you haven't subscribed my channel, please do that, and like my videos and share it among your friends so that they can also learn. Allah Hafiz.